This administration, the White House and the State Department, have failed to get a status of forces agreement. A trained ape could get a status of forces agreement. It does not take a genius.
Now, in an interview, I know this will shock you, but with Fox News, the former Secretary of Defense there, Donald Rumsfeld, he went off about the administration's failure to get Afghan President Hamid Karzai to sign an agreement that would clarify the legal position of U.S. troops in Afghanistan. Now, some say Rumsfeld should probably bite his tongue here and just stay out of this thing altogether following his historic failure in Iraq. Rumsfeld, he speaks out about it in Errol Morris's new documentary, The Unknown Known.
The reason I was concerned about Iraq is because four-star generals would come to me and say, Mr. Secretary, we have a problem. Our orders are to fly over the northern part of Iraq and the southern part of Iraq on a daily basis with the Brits, and we are getting shot at some moment. Could be tomorrow, could be next month, could be next year. One of our planes is going to be shot down, and our pilots and crews are going to be killed or they're going to be captured. The question will be, what in the world were we flying those flights for? What was the cost-benefit ratio? What was our country gaining? So you sit down and you say, I think I'm going to see if I can get the president's attention. Remind him that our planes are being shot at. Remind him that we don't have a fresh policy for Iraq. And remind him that we've got a whole range of options. Not an obsession, a very measured, nuanced approach, I think.
Yeah.
That's touching stuff.
What he leaves out is, by going to Iraq, we took our ball off Afghanistan. Forget about losing a certain terrorist in the mountains of Tora Bora, and forget about letting Kabul and so much we were greeting as liberators turn into a fiasco. Okay, the point is, we've seen other defense secretaries, Robert McNamara after Vietnam. I know a lot of people said too little, too late, but he admitted the failures of the policy, of the carry-out, etc. He not only is doubling down that he was right the whole time, he has the nerve to attack this president and doesn't show a scintilla of remorse, but more than anything, he really believes he knows best, which is just mind-boggling.
And all this is leaving us out the fact that he called Barack Obama a trained ape.
Yeah, leaving that out.
Look, there's some part of Rumsfeld that I actually kind of like, because he does carry himself well, and I like the way he speaks, and I like he sort of seems to take responsibility, or he did when he was defense secretary, for his decisions. I just don't believe anything that he says, and I question almost every decision that he makes. But he really seems to be in this camp of Bush aides who are convinced that history will be the thing that liberates them and convinces everybody that they were right in the first place. And then you can't look at it now. You have to look at it 30 years from now when Iraq becomes this wonderful magisterial place. I question his long and short-term strategies. I like the way he says it. I hate what he says.
But you know what, Don? Him and Cheney, right? They've been doing this tour here. Right, they've been doing this tour.
That's what I feel like saying. Yeah. Whenever you say Rumsfeld and Cheney, wow!
Well, you know, and the chicken hawks. Let's not forget this. They're the same ones who all went out of their way to go after Kerry for his military record, and both of them didn't serve a moment in uniform when they had a chance. Leave that aside. But George W. Bush, say what you want, he at least has had the class and the dignity to, while sitting in president, not throw any verbal bombs here at this sitting president, okay? But these two clowns, at every chance, ignore every fact and every record and pretend like they're the two smartest guys in the room, and they just have more guts than everybody else. It drives me nuts.
Right. And they were basically appointed to their jobs, right?
Of course.
I mean, you know, Bush selected them. And I refer to President Bush, who has shown a lot of class and not criticizing President Obama. And naturally, there are things he's going to disagree with. I'm more offended with the fact that Mr. Rumsfeld, it doesn't matter what the facts say. It doesn't matter. It doesn't go with my story. So we change it to fit my agenda, the way I want history to record it. And oh yeah, that trained ape. Mark 1. That's one of those that's going to go in the book. Like right now, President Obama won't respond while he's in Brussels. That's one that goes under racial category in his book when he's no longer the president.
But if you were one of the key players who was likely to go down in history as one of the worst military decisions we ever made, or one of the architects of one of the worst wars we ever made, wouldn't you be trying to sell it even all these years later? No, it wasn't as bad as you think it was.
I'd shut up and be playing golf in Florida or something. I wouldn't be going out and reminding everybody, oh yeah, it was my idea to go in there. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, nobody faulted anybody for going to Afghanistan. I know I'm repeating the obvious. But their decision that nobody was forcing them to go into Iraq and remember the whole axis of evil and everything else, they would have gone in Iran if we let them, right? But the whole point is, he's reminding everybody that, my God, what were we thinking listening to these clowns? And look what it's turned into. And look at the messy action in Afghanistan.
But maybe that trained ape can find those nuclear weapons that never materialize.
They're with Bin Laden.
Wow!
They're with Bin Laden.
Oh, they're with Bin Laden.
Yeah,
Okay.
Pakistan.
Okay.
And Rumsfeld is the one who got him. Don't you forget that.
That's right. That's right. That's
Dominic, Andrew, thank you very much here. We move off the trained apes. And coming up next, the return of our Wednesday night legal team. On the docket tonight here, unbelievable stories coming out of the Deep South. Justice in Mississippi. The state is poised to put a woman to death tomorrow for murder, despite the fact that her own son has confessed to the crime not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. And a teen mother also faces life in prison for fetal homicide. She says she did nothing wrong. We will hear from a legal panel when we come back.